All right, this video is on chapter 11, and this is the first lesson. It's on mean, uh, and I don't mean like being not nice to someone. In math, mean is to find the average. Um, and so the target is to find the mean of a data set. So if you have all these numbers, um, there's a way to easily put them all together, divide by how many you have, and you'll get the average. I I love finding the average of things. Um, the Cubs seem to be doing really well right now. The other day, I looked at all the runs they had scored, and I wanted to find the average. How many runs do they like average a game? And so I added up all the runs they had scored, and then I divided by the number of games they'd played, and then I was able to get their average. And it was 6.7. It was almost 7 runs a game, um, which is pretty amazing. So, but all right, here we are. We are wanting to find the average, the mean. And the way you do that is if you have numbers, maybe you have 3 numbers, you add up those 3 numbers and divide by 3, and that gets you your average. Pretty simple formula. Let's look over here. So we have someone who has some CDs. One person has 3 CDs, someone has 4 CDs, someone has 6 CDs, someone has 0 CDs, and someone has 2. And you ask yourself, well, what's the average? Out of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, what's the average amount of CDs? So what I do is I add all of these up. 3 plus 4 plus 6 plus 0 plus 2. And I add all that up. 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 plus 6 is 13. 13 plus 2 is 15. Okay. So the total amount of my set of data is going to be 15. Now I divide that by the number I have here. Let's say I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I take my total divided by 5, and this gets me my mean, or my average. And 15 divided by 5 is 3. Okay? So my average is 3. Average or mean equals 3. 3 CDs. Should label them. There we go. Okay. And that's about right. This person has 3. This one has 4 and 6. So they each have about, you can kind of see where 3 is kind of right in the middle. What you're trying to do with average is you're trying to find kind of what the center, what do most people have, your average, okay? We can do that with average high temperatures. So say we have a place and we have a couple days where it's high of 45. We have a day where it's high of 47, high of 49, 50, 52. Okay, so the way I'm going to find my average is I'm going to add up all of these. Now I have 2 days at 45. So 45 plus 45 plus 47 plus 49 plus 50 and plus 52. Okay, so that's my complete set of data. And sometimes I use a calculator in this, sometimes I don't. I think I will today to save on some time here. If I can find it, here we go. Okay. So we have 45 plus 45 plus 47 plus 49 plus 50 plus 52. And that gets me 288. Okay, my total is 288. Now I got to figure out how many numbers did I include in that. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I take 288 divided by 6, and that will get me what my average is. 48. And then I want to think, well, does that make sense? Is 48 kind of the average? I got some 45s here. I got a 52, 50. Yeah, it looks like probably 48 is about the average. So it makes sense. But I also know that I did it correctly by adding up all the numbers. Got my total, divided by the number that were there, 6. So my average of this set of data is 48. Okay. Now, you can find one of the numbers in the set of data if you know the average. Okay? Here's what I mean. Look, I have a problem here. Joe talked on his cell phone each month. Okay, so each month he talks on his cell phone, and here are the amount of minutes that he does. He did 494 one month, 502, 486, 690. Ooh, talking a lot that month, and then 478. So he's talking on his cell phone. Those are 5 months. The mean for 6 months. So if I take 6 total months, the mean or the average for 6 months was 532. Okay, so my average is 532. Now, what was the amount of minutes during the 6th month? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set up a chart here. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I know that 494, 502, 486, 690, 478. Those are my first 5 months. That's the 6 months I need to know. Now the average is 532. Is this one going to be 532? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Don't just put this one in here, add them up and divide, because that's not going to get you the average. The average or the mean equals 532. So for 6 months, if the average was 532, I can get my total over those 6 months. All I have to do is do 532 times 6. Okay? So I have, let's see, that's 2, 18, 19, 31. Okay? So if this is the average for 6 months, okay, and this is my mean is 532 for 6 months, then my total is going to be this. So from here to here is 3,192. Okay? So I just have to add this plus this plus this plus this plus this plus this has to equal this 3,192. Because once I divide this by 6 months, then I get my average of 532. Okay? So, what I have to do here is I have to add all of these numbers up. I want to get what this total is here. If I can get what this total is here, I'll take it away from here, and that'll leave me what remains. Okay? So, I get my little calculator again. 494 plus 502 plus 486 plus 690 plus 478 equals. So from here to here, 2,650. Now if I take 3,192 minus 2,650, that should leave me with what this is. Okay? So let's do it. That's 2, 4, that becomes a 2, that becomes a 1, 542. So I'm thinking his 6 month was pretty close to the average. Pretty close. 542. It was just 10 more minutes than the average. But we didn't put the average. The average is over 6 months. We needed just the 6th month here. And we were able to do it. So if I would add this, if I add all of these, it'll give me this 3192. And then I divide it by 6 months, I will get the mean or the average of 532. Okay, so if you have, maybe you have all the data set, all the points in the data set, like when we were doing this high temperature, we had them all, we added them up, divided by the number, and then we got our average. Sometimes you have the average, and you have some numbers, but you don't have, maybe you're missing one. You can set it up in a chart like this, and you can figure out what that missing number is to equal your average that they've given you, okay? Average is fun to find out. It's kind of cool to take a set of data, and you're able to always find the average of it, okay? So sometimes I do this with even like the Wordly Wise tests. If a lot of people get 20 out of 24, a couple of people get 23 out of 24, some people get 18 out of 24. I add them all up and divide, and I see what my class average is. So how are we doing as a class? It gives me an idea. So average, I do average for a lot of things. So hopefully you'll be able to find out the average of things. And remember that average is mean. So when it says what is the mean, all it's telling you is what is the average. And the way you find the average is you add up all the numbers and divide by the total numbers, numbers that you have. So if you have 6 numbers in your set of data, you divide it by 6. If you have 10 numbers in your set of data, you divide it by 10. Okay? All right.